Right, good morning, everyone, and warm welcome to the next session on Python. So far in the previous sessions, we have completed operations on list and operations on tuple, and then operations on dictionaries. And in the last session, we have completed the traversing dictionaries. So that is the first part of unit number 3. And from today, we are going to start the second part of unit number 3. So in the second part, so we are going to look at the concept of functions. Okay, so we are going to start the functions in Python today. So let us see the definition. A function can be called as a block of code. Okay, function can be called as a block of code, which will be executed. Okay, which will be executed when we call them. So it is a block of code and it will get executed when we make a call to that particular function. Okay, so for these functions, you can pass data in the form of parameters. For these functions, you can pass the data from the parameters, and at the same time, functions can return the data. Okay, so a function can take the data, and at the same time it will process the data according to the body of that function, and then it will return some data. Okay, so this is the basic things regarding functions. Sometimes we call these functions as methods also. So don't get confused with both the names. Functions or methods, both are almost similar. So a function is a block of code which will be executed when we make a call to that function, and we can pass the data in the form of parameters to that function, and at the same time we can get some data from the functions. Okay, so see here. So before going to look at the functions in Python, let us revise the concept of functions from C programming language. So in C programming language, we generally write void main, and we write something here. Okay, void main, and we maintain the opening and closed braces here. So here, see this one. A function is having 4 parts. Okay, a function is having 4 parts. So let us look at what are the 4 parts of the function. So let us look at the 4 parts of the function, and then we can see the in-depth details. So these are the 4 parts of the functions. See here. So the entire 4th part is this one. Right? So the 4 parts are, the first one is called as the return type of the function. Okay, first one is called as return type of the function, and the second one is called as name of the function. Okay, name of the function, and the third part of the function is called as parameters of the function, which will be represented within the braces after the function name, and the 4th part of the function is called as body of the function. Okay, so these are the 4 parts of any function in any programming language. Okay, it may be a C or C++ or a Java or Python or any other programming languages. That is the basic thing regarding functions. So function is having 4 parts. The 4 parts are return type, name, parameters, and body of the function. So let us see each and every part in detail. Okay, let us see each and every part in detail. For example, let us start with the return type. Let us start with return type. So what this return type will say the compiler is that what this function is going to return is specified by this one. For example, if I write int space main, so if I write int space main, So then the compiler will understand that if this body of the main function is executed, then we are going to get an integer value. Okay, if the body of the function is executed, then we are going to get an integer value. So if we maintain something called as float space main, okay, float space main and some body of the main function. So now the compiler will come to a conclusion that if this main body has been executed, then it is going to return a floating point number. Floating point number means it may be a 10.50 or it may be a 6.6, whatever it may be. So it is going to return the floating point number. When we write something called as character char space main, okay, char space main, and we maintain some body. So now the compiler will know that if we execute this main function, one character value is going to be returned. Okay, so see here, if you maintain int main, one integer value is going to be returned. If you maintain float main, then the compiler will know that after executing this main function, floating point value will be returned. And if you maintain character means, so after executing that particular method, it is going to return a character value. Okay, so return type is going to help the compiler with the type of value which will be generated after the execution, after the successful execution of that particular method. Okay, that is the return type. Now, what is void here? So void in the sense, we are telling the C compiler, okay, we are telling the C compiler, if we execute, okay, if we execute this main method, nothing is going to be returned. If nothing is going to be returned, then we have to maintain void. So when we say void main, so after the execution of this main function, nothing is going to be returned. Okay, after the execution of main function, if one integer value is returning, then we have to maintain int main. Or if the execution of the function will return floating point value, then we have to maintain float main. So here the return type will help the compiler. Okay, return type will help the compiler, or return type will give the information to the compiler that the successful execution of this particular method is going to return an integer value, or is the successful execution of this method is going to return a float value, or the successful execution of this method is going to return nothing. Okay, nothing in the sense, if we keep void means the compiler will know that the successful execution of this particular method is going to return nothing. And then coming to the next one, the name of the method. So we can have any name. Okay, we can have any name as the name of the method, but that name should not be a keyword. Okay, that name should not be a keyword, and there should be no spaces in the name. So here the name is main. We cannot write main as m space a space I space n, because no space is allowed for the method name. And then method name should not be a keyword. What do you mean by keyword? For example, if we want to declare an integer variable in C programming language, we declare it by using int space a, where int is a keyword which was reserved by the C programming language in order to declare an integer variable in the program. And at the same time, if you want to declare a floating point variable, or if you want to check a condition, you can go for if. So if is a reserved word for C programming language for conditional statements, or while. So it is a reserved word for iterational statements. So we cannot use void space int. See here, we cannot use void space int like this, because the second part of the method is the name of the method, and the name of the method should not be a keyword. Okay, so there are some keywords which are reserved by the programming, programming language in order to do programming. So those reserved words are called as keywords. Okay, I think it is clear. So name can be any name, but the name should not have any spaces, and at the same time the name should not be the keywords of programming. Okay, so now the third one is the parameters. See here, the third one is the parameters. So it is up to us. Okay, it is up to us. If we want to have the parameters, we can have the parameters. Or if you don't want to have the parameters, we just leave it as empty. It is optional, right? It is optional, and it depends upon, okay, it depends upon the need of the programmer. If the programmer needs some parameters, for example, for this method, if I want to pass 10, 20 values, I cannot pass them without parameters. So if I want to pass 10, 20 values to that method should be ready to take those values. Okay, for example, if you write void main, see here, if you write void main int a comma int b, okay, int a comma int b, now this main method is ready to take 2 integer values. So if you pass main of 10, 20, 10 will be assigned to A and 20 will be assigned to B. Okay, so now it is parameterized method. It is a parameterized method which is having 2 parameters. And if you don't want to have parameters, you can simply leave this as empty. So it is up to you. If you want to receive some data from the outside, you can maintain parameters. And if you don't want to receive any data from the outside, you can just leave the parameters as empty. Okay, so now the fourth part is the body of the method. So this body of the method are the lines of code, LOC, lines of code, which will be executed when anyone calls this method. Okay, when anyone calls the method, this is the thing which will be executed. Okay, I think now it is clear. So it is the method in C programming language. Remember, it is the method in C programming language. So it should have a return type. It should have a name. Parameters is an optional, but the method should have a body. Okay, now let us have a look at how the methods in Python programming language will be, right? See here. So in Python, we generally use a keyword called as DEF, means definition. So whenever the DEF keyword was observed by the Python compiler, then the Python compiler will came to know that it is a starting point of a method. That it is a starting point of a method. So here when we say void or when we say int followed by method name, then C compiler will know that it is the starting point of the method. See here. So in Python, if we use DEF definition, if we use DEF, then the Python compiler will come to know that we are going to define a method. So followed by name of the method. See here in Python, it does not need any return type. Okay, because there are no data types such as integer, floating point, character, etc. Okay, so in Python, the data type of the variable is defined by using the value which was assigned to that variable. So here, if you want to declare an integer variable, you have to use int a. If you want to declare a floating point variable, you have to use float b, etc. Okay, but in Python, if you want to have an integer variable, just define it by using a equal to 10. So depending upon the value which was passed in the RHS side, the data type of the variable will be decided. If your value is 10.50, now the data type of a is floating point. And if the value is 10, the data type of the variable is integer. And in case if the value is something called as s, the data type of the variable a is string. Okay, so here there is no return type, but we have to maintain the keyword DEF, the starting point of the method, followed by name of the method, and within the braces we can have parameters, that is the third part, and then we can have the body. Okay, we can have the body. So see here in Python, okay, in Python, the method is having say 4 parts similar to the C programming language. First part, okay, and then second part, okay, and then the third part, and the fourth one, okay, and the fourth one. So see here. So now see here, it is the starting point. Okay, it is the starting point, and the Python compiler will come to know that it is a method because we have used the def keyword. And then the second part is the name of the method, and third part is the parameters of the method, and fourth part is the body of the method. Okay, so in order to tell the Python compiler, we have to use def, so we cannot change this one. And then name, similar to the C programming language, here also the keywords cannot be used as a names of the method, and there should be no spaces in the method name. The rules are common here. And parameters, it is also optional in Python. Okay, it is also optional in Python. If you want your method to have parameters, you can have. If you don't want any parameters in your method, you can just leave it as empty. And finally, body of the method. So when anyone calls this method, this body is going to be executed. So here the body means the lines of code which needed to be executed when someone makes a call to this method. Okay, I think now it is clear how to define a method in Python. Okay, so if anybody is having the doubts, you can raise. If there are no doubts, we can move to the programming in Python regarding functions. Okay, so I think there are no doubts. So let us move to the programming in Python. Okay, for doing programming, I have taken one online Python compiler. See here, as we discussed so far, if you want to define a function, you have to use the def keyword followed by name of the function. For example, my function name is CSC. Okay, and it is up to us whether we can have parameters or not. It is up to us. Okay, so see here. So CSC, I just left it as empty, and colon followed by print. So if someone calls this CSC function, it is going to print computer science and engineering on the output screen. Okay, so now if we want to call this method, we can call it by using CSC. So if you call CSC, then Python compiler is going to search the entire program if there is any definition with the name CSC. So if it is found, it is going to execute this one. So it is going to print computer science and engineering on the output. You can see here, it is the first part definition, it is the second part name of the function, it is the third part there are 0 parameters, and it is the fourth part the body of the function. Okay, now let us see here. If I don't call and if I run the program, I don't get any output. Okay, as we discussed in the first point, functions are the block or some lines of code which will be executed only when we call them. Okay, unless and until we call them, the functions will never get executed. So if you do this one, you are not going to get any output. So what we have to do if we want to execute the CSC? If you call the CSC, if you call the function, then it is going to be executed. If you run the code now, you can see here the body of the function has been executed successfully. Okay, so this is how we generally define a function. Now we had just used a function without having parameters. For example, see here, for example, I want to have one parameter to this function. When we want to define a parameter in C programming language, we have to use something called as int space a in order to tell that it is an integer parameter. But in Python, there is no need to use such type of data types. We can simply declare a variable a. Okay, we can simply declare a variable. Okay, for example, if we pass 10, the 10 will be assigned to CSC. Okay, if we pass 10.50, 10.50 can be assigned to CSC. If we pass a character, Okay, if we pass a character, character will be assigned. If we pass a string, string will be assigned. Okay, see here. See in C programming language, for example, I have a method called as CSC. I have a method called as CSC, and it is having an integer parameter. If somebody wants to call this method, they have to pass an integer value. So only passing integer value will execute this method. If you pass something called as 10.50 here, okay, if you pass something called as 10.50, obviously we are passing a floating point number, and it will not execute this method because here the parameter is integer. Only the people who passes the value integer value along with this method name, then this method will going to be executed. But the case is different in case of Python. In case of Python, there is no need of the int keyword or float keyword, etc. in order to tell the data type of the variable. Here, we simply declare a variable, and that variable can accept any values. Okay, that variable can accept any values. See here, if I pass 1, where 1 is an integer variable, and if I run the code, it is going to print the output. If I pass 10.50, the floating point number, and if I run the code, still it is going to print the output. Okay, simple is that if we want to call the CSC method, we have to pass one value. That value may be of any type. Okay, so what happens if you don't maintain a value? And if you run the code, see here, I'm getting an error. Error is that CSC missing one required positional argument A. So now this third, if you write the third line like this, the third line is raising an error that the Python compiler is saying that there is a method CSC, but in order to call CSC, you have missed one required positional argument that should be passed to A. So you just called CSC, but in order to execute CSC, you have to feed this variable A. If you feed the variable A only, then you are going to execute the body of the CSC function. Okay, and I want to have a couple of parameters. For example, A comma B. So now if anybody wants to call this function, they have to pass two values. Then only the program is going to be executed. If you don't pass two values, or if you pass only one value, okay, then it is saying that CSC is missing one required positional argument B. So the 10 value has been passed to A, but in order to execute the CSC, we need to pass two values, A and B. So we have passed A, but you don't pass B. And so let us see what will happen if you don't pass any parameter here. And if you run the code, you can see here, CSC is missing two values. What are the two values? CSC is missing A and B. Couple of values it is missing. I think it is clear. So at the same time, we can have any number of parameters we want. Now the CSC method is having 5 parameters. So if anybody wants to execute this one, they have to pass 5 parameters. Now only the body of the function is going to be executed. Okay, now we can make use of these five variables. See here, if I, along with the CSC, if I want to print all the 5 values which has been passed during the calling of the function, I can simply use the variable names inside the print statement. You can see here, when I say print computer science and engineering, comma A, comma B, comma C, comma D, comma E, then it is going to print computer science and engineering on the output screen, followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is how the functions will be. See here, with the use of these parameters only, we have passed some data to these variables. Okay, if there are no parameters, we cannot pass any data. Okay, we cannot pass any data to this function. If you want to pass some data, you can please have some parameters for the function. And then now I don't know. Okay, I don't know. For example, here I have 2 parameters. Okay, here I have 2 parameters. Unfortunately, I don't know how many number of parameters I will pass during. Okay, I don't know how many number of parameters I will pass during the method call. See here, if there are 2 parameters, I can pass 2. For example, if I have a parameter Still, I want to execute this method by passing 3 parameters. Even though the method is going to take only 1 parameter, I want to execute this method by passing 3. Or I want to execute the method if I pass 4, or I want to execute the method if I pass 5 values. So I want to execute the method in any way. If I pass 1 value or 2 values or 3 values or 4 values, I want to execute this method. Then if you maintain the asterisk symbol here, so definition CSC of asterisk, that is star A, now the Python compiler, okay, now the Python compiler will execute this function with any number of parameters. See here, just I have passed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I run the code, just a second. If I run the code, it is going to print computer science and engineering. And if I don't pass 4, and if I pass only 4 parameters, then also it is going to execute the thing. If I don't pass any parameters and if I run the code, then also it is going to execute. Okay, so if I pass 1 parameter, then also it is going to be executed. So we can pass any number of parameters here when you have a parameter with star symbol. So these type of parameters are called as arbitrary arguments. Arbitrary arguments, note on this point. So arbitrary arguments, for arbitrary arguments, we just use the star symbol. So for the things which is having the star symbol, we can pass any number of parameters. So the number does not matter. So we can, if we pass any number of parameters also, it will get executed. So now the interesting point here is that, so for example, if I have passed 5 values, and if I run the program, it is running. For example, so all the 5 values will be stored under the name A. Under the name A, there will be an array. If you say star A, under the name A, there will be an array. So the array size will be declared during the method call. During the method call, I have passed 5 values. So 5 values will be stored like this: A of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where the index will be 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now if you want to access the second parameter, that is the second parameter, that is 2, we can simply use something called as A of 2. And if you run the code, just a second, we have to use something called as some separator here. You can see here, it has printed the value at index number 2. At index number 2, we have 3. It has printed 3. If you want to print the second value, just pass A of 1. It will print value 2. Okay, right. See here. Next thing. So this concept is called as arbitrary parameters or arbitrary arguments. And one more thing, don't confuse with the name parameters and arguments. Don't confuse with the name parameters and arguments. Okay, both are similar. Both are almost similar. There is only one minor difference between the parameters and arguments. So here, star A is called as parameter. Here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are called as arguments. The things which we declare along with the method are called as parameters. The things which we pass in order to execute the method are called as arguments. Okay, so and with this I'm going to close today's session, and in tomorrow's session we can have a look at some more important properties regarding these functions, and along with that we will see some examples and on functions and how can we use the functions with different problems. And at last we are going to cover the concept of recursion. Okay, so I request, if anybody is having the doubt so far, you can raise your hands. So in today's session, we have started discussing about the methods or functions. So we have seen how the methods will be in C programming language. And after that, we have seen how we can declare a method in Python. And we have seen how to call a method, and how to have parameters with the method, and how to call a method with parameters. And I got one message. Parameter same type undala. Same type in the sense, see here, if you are having CSC of A, if you pass CSC of 1 and if you run the code, see here, there is no A of 1 here because we have deleted the arbitrary parameter. So see here, if you run the code, it is going to print. If you pass 10.50, the floating point number, then also it is going to be executed. If you pass something called as a character, then also it is going to be executed. Okay, if you pass a string, then also it is going to be executed. Okay, so we can pass any type, but in case of C programming language, while you are writing a function, for example, CSC, just a second. For example, CSC is a function name, and within the braces, if you want to maintain a parameter, we have to declare it with a data type. Now, if you want to call CSC, the CSC will be executed only for the people who have called by using integer value only. If it is a floating point value, then the CSC will be executed for the people who have called with floating point number only. It is in the case of C, C++, and Java. But in Python, the case is quite different. We can simply declare a variable, and that variable can accept any type. Because in Java, if we declare a variable, in A, the data type of the variable will be integer when we pass integer value. The data type of the variable will be float when we pass a float value. The data type of the variable will be string when we pass a string. So the data type will be declared by the value which was passed from the RHS side. That's why by simply declaring a variable here, we can pass any value, and that will execute the body of the function. Okay, I think I am clear, and still if you have any doubts, you can text me. See here, I got one more thing. Just a second, I got almost 10 to 15 questions. I will answer each and everything, just a couple of seconds. Next one, if we don't declare brackets in parameter, what happens? So it is the rule. Okay, it is the rule. See here, if you delete the brackets, and if you see here, if you delete the brackets and if you run, see here, it is telling that it is an invalid syntax. Syntax means for everything there is rule. In programming, for everything there is rule. For example, let us come to the point of printf statements in C programming language. See, we write the printf statement like this. For example, print f, and we start the braces, we start the double quotates, and we write some text here. After writing the text, we close the double quotates and we close the brackets and we write semicolon. So it is the syntax in C programming language to print something on the output screen. See here, C programming language is a case sensitive language. We cannot use capital P, capital R, capital I, NT. We cannot use like this because it is case sensitive. We have to use small in place of small and capital in place of capital. And at the same time, to print something, we have to have a open braces. We need to have a closed braces. We need to have double quotates. We need to have semicolon. If you miss something here, for example, if I miss a semicolon, then I am going to get an error here. If I miss this double quotates, then I am going to get an error here. So missing double quotates means we are not following the rules and regulations of printf statement. Missing semicolon means we are not following the rules and regulations of the printf statements in C. The same thing in case of Python. So in Python, if you want to define a function, it should have 4 parts. Okay, it should have 4 parts. So the 4th part is parameter, and that should be represented within the braces. If you don't maintain the braces, that means you are skipping one of the part among the 4 parts of a function. I earlier said there are 4 parts: def keyword, function name, parameters, body. If anything was missed inside these 4 parts, you are going to get an error. Okay, now I think it is clear. Now, next one, star a తీసుకున్నప్పుడు all arguments print అవ్వాలి అంటే for loop వాడచ్చు. Yeah, okay, see here. So when you go for the arbitrary arguments, for example, I have taken star a. Now the star a, okay, now the star a will take any number of parameters. For example, while calling this C, I have passed the values 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40 comma 50. Okay, now let us see here. I want to print all the values. Simple. If I want to print all the values, see here, if I pass 5 values, these 5 values will be stored inside the memory under the name of A. Okay, under the name of A, there will be 5 parts. It is the name of A, and the index values will be 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. In the first index, 10 will be stored. In the second index, 20 will be stored, and 30, and then 40, and then 50. Now, if you want to print all the values, it is simple. See here, if I write print A of 0, it will print the value which is at index number 1. If I write print something called as A of 1, okay, print A of 1, it is going to print the value at index number 1. Now, there are 5 values. We can simply write print A of 0, A of 1, A of 2, A of 3, and A of 4. What happens if I have 100 values? What happens if I pass 1 lakh parameters? I have to write 1 lakh print statements. In order to avoid this one, okay, in order to avoid this one, simple, write print A of I. For this one, write a for loop for I in, okay, for I in the range. Check, let us check the range. For I in range of something called as B, where B can be calculated as length of A. See here, we have seen already gone through the length function. What this length function will do, if an item is having 10 elements, this is going to return 10. If an item is having 20 elements, it is going to return nothing. It is going to return 20. See here, if I use B equal to len of A, now if 5 parameters has been passed, so the 5 value will be stored inside B. 5 value will be stored inside B. Now, if I write a for loop for I in range of B in the sense that I value will start at 0 and end at range B minus 1. If the B value is 5, I value is going to be end at 5 minus 1, that is 4. So for I in range of B, print A of I. So for loop also we have to maintain this indentation. Print A of I. See here, if I call CSC of 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50, and if I run the code, you can see here, it has printed all the values. If you pass one more value, okay, if we pass one more value, even though it also will be printed. Okay, I think I am clear. Still, if you have doubts, you can text me. And now, and the next one, CSC of 1 comma 1.5 comma x. ఇలా ఉండొచ్చు, right? So here, if I have 3 parameters, a comma b comma c, and I'm deleting this one. For example, this will print something called as chec on the output screen. So now there are 3 parameters. If somebody wants to execute the CSC method, you have to pass 3 values. Now it will be executed. Now we can have the combination of parameters also. Okay, we can have the combination of parameters also. See, I have passed one integer value, one floating point value, and one character or string. If I run the code, still it will get executed. Okay, here if there are 3 variables, A is ready to take integer, floating point, character, string. At the same time, B is ready to take integer, character, floating point, etc. And C is also ready to take any values from any data type. So it is up to you. You can pass any values of any data type, and that will be executed for sure. But the thing is that if there are 3, you have to pass 3 things which are separated by comma. If there are n number, you have to pass n number. Each and every individual should be separated with the comma. Okay, right. The next one. You said that elements stored in A can we print the elements using print of a statement? Yeah, okay. So see here, I have passed 10 20.50x. So instead of printing chec, if I pass a, okay, if I pass something called as b, and if I pass something called as c here, and if I run the code, it is going to print the values which you pass in the program. So this is how we transfer the data into the method. See here, if you are having parameters, means that the method is ready to take some data. Okay, that the method is ready to take some data. If you don't maintain these parameters, then you cannot pass any data for that method. If you want to pass the data, please maintain parameters. Okay, so here, if we pass 10, 20.5 and x, 10 is the first parameter, so it will be assigned to a. 20.50 is the second parameter, it will be assigned to b, and x is the third parameter, it will be assigned to c. Okay, we can also do some operations on this one. For example, there is a variable called as something called as d equal to a plus b. Okay, d equal to a plus b, and if I print d here, okay, if I print d, it is going to print the sum of 10 and 20.50. See here, the sum of 10 and 20.50, we are getting it as 30.5. Okay, so we can play with these variables or we can play with these parameters. And okay, still if anyone is having the doubts, I left with a lot more concepts to be covered, and I cover these topics in tomorrow's session, don't worry. And I will say some more important things regarding functions, okay, in the next class, don't worry. And till now we have completed some part of methods. So if anybody is still having the doubts, you can raise or you can text me. Okay, thank you. And if there are no doubts, I am going to close the today's session. I hope you all understood what I said today. And I request you to please practice the programs. Please practice the programs. Without practicing, you cannot do anything. Okay, and at the same time, while practicing also, don't copy and paste. If you copy and paste, you will become the best typist in the world and not the programmer. Okay, so please practice the things without copying. Please just play with the programming. There is nothing wrong if you go for the trial and error method. Okay, just change the keywords, use small letter in place of capital letter. Just see what will happen if you don't maintain colon, and see what will happen if you don't maintain braces. Learn like that. If you learn like that, no one can stop you, right? And thank you very much for being here. We will meet you in the next session with the remaining concept of methods.